Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about my week number 9 defenses to stream for fantasy football in 2021. Inside today's video, we're going to be going in depth into 5 different defenses that I believe you guys should be looking to stream this week based upon their matchups for week number 9. But before we can get into things, I would like to ask, if you are new to the channel and you do end up enjoying today's video, to please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And while you're down there, whether you are new to the channel or not, please make sure to leave a like on today's video. It would help us out a ton. So without further ado, let's get into my week number 9 defenses to stream. We begin with my number 1 defense to stream, the Pittsburgh Steelers, going up against the Chicago Bears this week at home in Pittsburgh. Week number 8, the Steelers defense went up against the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. In that game, they had 4 sacks against Baker Mayfield, 1 fumble recovery, as well as 10 points allowed. In that game, the Pittsburgh Steelers completely shut down the rushing attack from the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns are notoriously great at running the football. Every single game, they win these games by running the rock aggressively with Nick Chubb and normally with Kareem Hunt as well. Kareem Hunt has been banged up, so they used Dearness Johnson. That did not work out at all up against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Last week, the San Francisco 49ers defense went up against the Chicago Bears in Chicago. In that game, they had 4 sacks, 1 INT, and 22 points allowed. The Bears offense actually looked solid for once, but my theory on that is that the Chicago Bears offense looked so good because Matt Nagy wasn't able to be there to coach the game because of COVID. Now imagine what's going to happen this week when Matt Nagy comes back. I understand that Bill Lazor has been calling the offensive plays, but what I think is that Matt Nagy kind of is able to overrule the play callings, that he's able to say, you know what, Bill, that's wrong. Cast yourself to the side. Let me do this. And that's why they kind of still sucked even when Lazor was calling the plays. But last week, up against the 49ers, the offense was showing some promise. And I think that promise is all going to be crushed. It is all going to be gone. Once Matt Nagy returns, I think Matt Nagy is going to be there this week, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to stomp all over any glimmer of hope that the Chicago Bears fans have. Next up, we got the Dallas Cowboys going up against the Denver Broncos. In week number 8, the Dallas Cowboys went up against the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota on Sunday Night Football. Cooper Rush versus Mr. Kirk Cousins. In that game, the Cowboys defense had 1 sack as well as 16 points allowed. The Cowboys defense is one of the most interesting defenses to look at in the NFL because they allow a bunch of yards every single game, but they also just get so many turnovers. So at the same time, you're always going to be getting a decent amount of points allowed, but you're also going to be able to get some interceptions, get some sacks, game in and game out. And going up against the Denver Broncos, where normally they are allowing a decent amount of points, I'm not sure if that's going to happen because the Denver Broncos just seem like a complete and utter fucking dumpster fire. Why do I say this? Because they got rid of Von Miller. And what that tells me is that they don't care anymore. They understand that everything is done this season, that this season is a complete and utter wash. Teddy Two Gloves, Teddy Bridgewater, doesn't look all that good unless he's playing up against a garbage team, and the Dallas Cowboys are far from a garbage team, so I think that Teddy Bridgewater will struggle in this game. The Broncos offense made the Washington football team defense, who has been a laughingstock in the NFL, everyone all offseason, including myself. I'm not going to lie here. I was talking up the Washington football team defense because they were just so good last year. They almost beat Tampa Bay Tom Brady, the Super Bowl champs, in the playoffs last year. That defense was on fire. It was ferocious. And everyone's thinking, you know what? That's what they're going to be this year. And they've been far from it, except for last week, where they looked like the 85 goddamn Bears. 4 sacks, 1 fumble recovery, as well as having 17 points allowed in that game. The Denver Broncos offense is not all that good, and I believe that this week, the Dallas Cowboys defense is going to exploit that, and they are going to have a mighty fine game. Next up, we move to the San Francisco 49ers, going up against the Arizona Cardinals. Now, normally, playing a defense up against the Arizona Cardinals is stupid. It's flat out dumb. But it seems as though Kyler Murray is going to be missing this game up against the 49ers, and there's potential that he misses a couple of games on the season. Now, obviously, that's okay when you are just playing so well like the Arizona Cardinals that you can take a couple of losses, or maybe you can win some games without Kyler Murray, and you want him to be healthy in a couple of weeks for that playoff push, so you sit him down. That makes perfect sense. But the 49ers are going up against a Kyler Murray-less Arizona Cardinals, so my confidence in the 49ers defense is at a sky high right now. Last week, up against the Chicago Bears, they had 4 sacks, 1 INT, and 22 points allowed. And again, that was the best I've seen the Chicago Bears offense look all year. And even with that said, the 49ers were still able to sack Justin Fields 4 times and get an interception. So going up against a backup quarterback should be some easy sledding, some easy coasting for the 49ers defense. Last week, the Green Bay Packers went up against the Arizona Cardinals, in which was one of the most interesting games of the week on Thursday Night Football. In that game up against Kyler Murray, the Green Bay Packers defense had 2 sacks, 2 INTs, 1 fumble recovery, and 21 points allowed. Now again, that was up against Kyler Murray. This week, it's not going to be up against Kyler Murray, but I still do think it's comparable. We did see the Packers defense play quite well in that game, just like I believe the 49ers will play this week up against the Arizona Cardinals. But before we get on into the next defense to stream, I'd like to let you guys know that we have partnered with Yahoo Fantasy this NFL season to bring you guys some great offers. Check out our exclusive limited time offer, which gets you guys 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. To qualify, you need to be new to Yahoo, sign up for an account via the link down below, deposit and play. That is it. Yahoo will send us your name after you play in your first paid contest, and we'll reach out to you via email with your coupon. If you would like immediate access because you want to play today, that's okay as well. All you have to do is email support@awesemo.com. Again, support@awesemo.com, and we'll get you set up immediately. You could also claim a free $10 below, which can be used to enter any Yahoo contest. Make sure to use our DFS tools and projections designed specifically for Yahoo to give you guys the best shot at winning big. Again, make sure you guys do check out Yahoo. The link is down below in the video description. Next up, my 4th ranked defense to be streaming of the week is the Miami Dolphins going up against the Houston Texans. If you guys have other questions about other defenses that maybe you're looking to stream that aren't in today's video, because maybe they're all picked up, or maybe you are in a smaller league and there are better defenses available than this, then let me know in the comments. I always try to answer a lot of the comments on the video. I'd also appreciate if you guys left a thumbs up on today's video. So the Miami Dolphins, last week, they went up against the Buffalo Bills, and they allowed 26 points in Buffalo. Now, that doesn't sound very good, right? Because they didn't get a sack, no fumbles, no interceptions, nothing like that. But the Dolphins defense actually looked good for once at the beginning of the game. But then after half, the Bills kicked the door open and just whooped the ass of my Miami Dolphins. But at the end of the day, I think the Dolphins defense finally showed just an ounce of promise, just an ounce of care, and this week they get the Houston Texans. The Rams defense went up against the Houston Texans last week in Houston. They had 5 sacks, 1 INT, and 22 points allowed. Now, there's certainly a difference between the Rams defense and the Dolphins defense, but the Houston Texans looked terrible in that game until the 4th quarter, when I think the Rams just let them score points. It didn't seem like they should have at all scored 22 points in that game. So I do think that the Miami Dolphins, while they don't have the greatest of defenses, while they are a huge disappointment coming from last year's defense, I still do believe they do have some fantasy value this week. Final defense to talk about is the Las Vegas Raiders going up against the New York Football Giants in New York. The Raiders were on bye in week number 8, so we're going to go ahead and look at week number 7 for their defensive stats. In week number 7, they went up against the Philadelphia Eagles. In that game, they had 2 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries, and you guessed it, 22 points allowed. There's a whole lot of 2s in those numbers, but the Raiders defense looked pretty solid up against the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs defense, that basically everyone unanimously agrees is pretty fucking shit this year, right? The Chiefs defense isn't very good. They had 3 sacks, 1 INT, and 17 points allowed up against the Giants. The Giants had a million opportunities to win that game up against the Chiefs last night on Monday Night Football, and they faltered. I do believe that the Giants offense isn't bad. The Raiders defense isn't amazing, but all it takes is for Daniel Jones to do some Daniel Jones things, and you end up with a couple of sacks, and maybe a fumble recovery, and maybe an interception. So it's not always the worst idea to be streaming up against Mr. Danny Fumbles. Thank you guys all so much for watching today's video. If you did end up enjoying, please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below, because not only is it free, me and the people over at the Awesemo Fantasy Football channel put out content every single day to help you guys win your 2021 Fantasy Football Championship as well. If you ended up enjoying, make sure to hit that like button and follow me on Twitter at NotoriousFNTSY. I love you guys all so much. I hope you have a great rest of your guys' day, and please make sure to ask any questions in the comment section below. I love you guys. Have a great rest of your guys' day. Goodbye.